Welcome to Too Many Tabs. It's a podcast where a wife sits right over there.
Yeah.
And a husband sits right here. Mm-hmm. And then the wife sometimes tells the husband about stuff. And sometimes the husband tells the wife about stuff.
Yep.
But in the meantime, we all just learn more about each other.
Yeah, it's about the friends we made along the way.
There's no friendship in this marriage.
Twin flames.
Oh, stop saying twin flames. I just learned last week what twin flames was. And I've been concerned ever since.
Too many frauds and too many scammers that we wish weren't real. Too many cons and too many spammers, and we're starting to feel like we've got too many tabs open. It's too many tabs. Remember to smile.
That's really weird on the
Yeah.
other end of that.
Yeah, it always feels weird, especially when we're enjoying all of the goofs and the gaffes and the beats that come directly from our very good friend. His name was Dusk. And like always, if you want to go find more about him, you can go check his Instagram, or you can check the link down the show notes. Speaking of show notes, Mrs. P, we have a great announcement about the comedy tours that are happening this summer.
Oh, the one where you're going to all the fun places?
All the fun places without you.
That's it.
And
That's
without
right
the
there.
baby. Because I'm going out there to do what? Collect soup for my family.
Yeah, soup for the family.
And now every single link is live. I have called, I have yelled, I said, give me these links. I'm not telling people that I'm coming to St. Louis or Indianapolis or returning to Philadelphia for not one, but 2 nights at Helium Comedy Club locations all across. We have so many places now. We have coming up in Portland. I'm just about to buy plane tickets for that.
Yep.
Then I'm gonna be in Buffalo.
Yep.
I'm driving to
Gonna
Buffalo.
drive that
I'm not
one,
flying
yeah.
to Buffalo.
Yeah, drive that one.
All right. And then after Buffalo, I'm gonna be in Austin, Texas.
Yep. Don't drive to that one.
I'm not driving to Austin. I'm also going to be in Phoenix, Arizona,
Nice.
and San Diego, California.
What? They're going to
And
let you
then-
there?
Yeah, they're gonna let me go to San Diego.
That's
I've never
crazy.
been. You know what's funny? I've only ever been to LA.
LI.
I've been to Anaheim and LA.
LI.
Never been any other part of California.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never been any other part.
We should go.
We should go.
But not when you're on your tour, because I have to stay here and wait for the soup to return.
I have to bring back the soup. I have to do.
I like that I don't even want soup. I want the ingredients to make soup.
You do
I'm like,
want
please
that.
bring me bones so I might make a stock.
I grew up in a Campbell's household where the soup was poured out of a can.
Gross.
And then you informed me, no, the
Yeah.
soup, there's stock, there's
Yeah.
bones that need to be boiled.
There's vegetables.
And I was like, this sounds more like a witch's brew.
Stop telling people that.
Stop telling people about your witch's brew?
I'm not saying nothing about that.
Well, listen, Mrs. P,
Yep.
we've had quite a few things that have been happening with the Patreon.
Yeah, things are happening. We got all the suggestions.
We have all of them
I love
in.
a suggestion.
Yep, as of this recording, it is now officially, we're closing that topic.
It's
Suggestion
over
box.
100 suggestions.
It's crazy how many
I-
popped in so quickly.
You know, I don't love a spreadsheet.
No.
I have Excel girlies in my life who love a spreadsheet.
Yes, you do.
I'm not the biggest fan, but every once in a while I like to get into a spreadsheet. And
Yeah.
I feel like for the suggestions, I'm getting into a spreadsheet.
I feel like
because I feel like there's going to be duplicates.
You got to set a pivot table.
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
get a napkin, right? And get some formulas.
Yep.
Get the little fingies going.
Yep.
All right? I think you're going to do
I
good.
think that's going to be a thing I have to do because I know there's going to be a couple duplicates.
Yeah.
So I want to see what's got the most suggestion strength.
And you're going to have to look next to each comment to see which one has the most hearts. Because some
yep.
people go through and they're like, I was going to say that, click heart.
Yep. See?
You know, reply
this
threads.
This is going to be a fun little thing. And then, you know what I'll do? I'll probably just email one of my Excel girlies and say, hey, can you
help me.
help?
Please help.
My ADHD has kicked in
Yeah.
about 10 suggestions deep.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
You get to suggestion 11, you're like, I really need to wipe down this table. This
you know
is
what?
really.
This carpet should be vacuumed.
We should shampoo the whole house. That's a thing that's
That
actually happened.
Shots fired.
Yeah. This is my Kendrick Drake moment.
Yeah.
And just real quick, I just want to congratulate ourselves
Okay.
on being the only podcast not doing a deep dive into the Kendrick
Yeah.
Drake beef
Why?
because it's deep and there's so many other people covering it.
Oh,
and
no,
they're
I
gonna
meant
do it
like,
better.
why would we do it? When
Oh, I know.
It's,
Well, you know, different audiences, different
Yeah.
people. So, you know, sometimes you're like, oh, this is a cool thing. I've just noticed that every
I
streamer.
meant why as in there's no need to dig. Kendrick buried that man alive, dug up the corpse, pooped on it, buried it again.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know why you would deep dive.
And then planted a tree that Drake's children can then learn from underneath.
It's the giving tree.
It's the giving
Not
tree.
even a good book. You're like, what kind of lesson is this?
It's a terrible book, honestly. As a child, I remember thinking it was so nice. And then as I got older, I'm like...
And then you're looking at the dead stump and he's sitting on it and you're like, what the fuck is this book about?
Yeah, you're like, this tree's in an abusive relationship with this child.
Sure.
It should be just called the enabling tree.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. All right, well, this has been great. For anyone who's waiting for their shout-outs, going to be at the end of the episode. And if you want to join our Patreon, patreon.com/pearlmania500 or pearlmania500.net. Without further ado, Mrs. P, you ready to go either hit some ads or just go ahead and go right into the show?
Yeah, let's get this going.
Let's go! We're back. Here we are.
We're here.
And we're here with your episode.
Okay, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, so last season, do you remember last season? No. Yeah, no.
You know, it's pre-baby.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
We had pre-potato, post-potato. We now have pre-pearl babia, post-pearl babia,
He's
which
a
is the
potato
present.
as well.
It's basically just the present.
Yeah,
and I don't
he's a
remember the
little baby
past.
potato.
He is.
Okay, so last season, we did an episode on Hillsong. You remember Hillsong?
I do remember Hillsong.
Sing in church.
Yes.
Where you go to sing.
Yeah, the Chris Pratt of churches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just my heart just inflamed because I thought about that house again.
Oh, the Zimmerman house?
For one of the listeners on Instagram sent me a Instagram video about how Chris Pratt bought the Zimmerman house, which is a famous architectural 1950s house in LA, and he bought it and bulldozed it and built a farm style McMansion.
Yeah.
Just the worst.
Can I say something?
It is. That's the Hillsong situation.
I have a deep passion against the modern, like the 2020s farmsteader like type of look. My biggest thing, sliding door in a bathroom.
I hate a sliding door in a bathroom.
Listen, if the door slides
It
and
jiggles.
if any light can get through, if I can hear you pooping,
Yeah, I don't want
right?
that.
Like listen, and not like a regular poop, not a violent poop. A violent poop, everyone's going to hear.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how big the door is. Doesn't matter how loud the fan is. If it's a good poop, you're going to hear. But I know you're telling me to hurry it along.
Yeah.
Okay. Go back. Go ahead. It's on you. You take it. Take it from here. I'm not mad at all.
I didn't know how far you were going to go down the literal poop train on this. I was just like, okay, where are we going?
We're going with I hate the slidey doors. Also, those doors come off the track very easy.
Yes.
And they don't look like they're very sturdily built. And on top of that, why are you using reclaimed wood for a door? Like, get the fuck out of here. It's just all bullshit.
I hate the farmhouse aesthetic. Specifically,
I want just solid doors. Give me solid doors. Want a hinge.
millennial gray or white siding with then black windows.
Millennial gray isn't even our fault, by the way. I want to tell everybody that's not our fault. That's
Yeah.
because landlords and flippers have convinced us that we shouldn't live in our existing space. We should only be living and keeping it up so that way it keeps value because our value is only equal to the living space around us and its future resale value. That's it. Not the value of how you feel about the wall right now. To the point where I know people who've never put a nail in a wall. Like they only have ever bought those like sticky hooks. Because they're so terrified of losing a security deposit.
Oh.
And I'm like, no, not me.
No,
Not me,
not
bitch.
me.
Not me, bitch.
I'm filling those
all my
frickers
shit
with
goes in
gum.
frames. No, not even that. All my shit goes in frames, number one.
I know.
Number two, all of them get hung with a fucking nail
Yep.
on a hanger.
Yep.
And when I move out, you know what I do? I fucking leave the hole. Fuck you. Because, yeah, honestly, here's the thing. If they want to keep the security deposit, they'll figure out a way.
Yeah.
They'll always call. One time I got fined $75 for leaving a toilet paper roll on the fucking toilet paper roll holder. And they fined me $75 for trash removal.
Wait, did you actually pay it? Or did you fight them?
I tried fighting them, but it was one of those things where it was a slumlord, and they just sent me it was like an $800 security deposit, and I think I got like $530, and I was like, you know what, whatever.
Oh man.
It was like not worth it at that point to me, and it was like 2 months past.
Oh, it was 2 months past?
Yeah.
If they wait over 30 days, then
I
you
didn't know you
automatically
then.
win.
I didn't know you
Guys,
then.
I could do
I
could do a whole episode about landlord-tenant law in Philadelphia.
Which is on Philadelphia. That's
But specifically
specific
on
to Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Okay.
Anyway, we got to talk about where I started, which was Hillsong.
Yes.
During that Hillsong episode, we discussed one of the pastors named Rich Vikerson, who was reality show famous for doing a show called Rich in Faith.
Okay.
He's the guy that officiated Kim and Kanye's wedding.
Yes.
Yep. Remember? Okay, it was all coming back to
strong wedding, strong marriage. Definitely a good pastor.
Okay, yep.
Okay.
While I was doing research about that man and that specific situation with Kim and Kanye, I found out that Kim K may follow the 7 Mountain Mandate. And I went down that hole a little bit, but it was actually so big that I was like, wait, I can't cram this in the Hillsong. It's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
So today I want to discuss what the 7 Mountain Mandate is with you and how that relates to social media.
Okay. So 7 Mountain Mandate.
Yes. So the 7 Mountain Mandate is a movement that is believed by its followers. It began in 1975.
Terrible time to start anything religious.
The message from God was delivered to evangelicals. Those 3 evangelicals are Lauren Cunningham, Bill Bright, and Francis Schaeffer.
Real quick. Are you saying Lorne or Lauren?
Lauren, okay, Loren.
Okay.
Lauren?
Lauren. Well, that's like, okay.
It's a man's name.
No,
Lauren.
I get you. No, I would want to make sure it wasn't like Lauren Michaels. And, Or sometimes you say also like with your hoagie mouth.
It's the hoagie mouth.
You do say, sometimes you're like Lauren. And I'm like, are you saying Lauren or are you saying Lauren?
Yeah,
and like,
it might be Lauren.
crayon.
Honestly. I'm not gonna respond to that.
Okay.
Okay. So crayon. See? Easy peasy.
Okay.
So the idea that was, delivered by God to these 3 men was basically an order from God for them to invade the 7 spheres of society, identified as family, religion, education, media, entertainment, business, and government.
Invade?
They got to invade it for God.
Okay. I like that they said invade. That's crazy.
The idea was
admitting you're an invader. That's wild.
Yep.
Not like, oh, we already have dominion. Not that we're gonna take it back. Not even reclaim. It's not even like a reconquista. Like we're gonna invade.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's a matter of this has all gotten out of control. We need to get back in control.
Gotcha.
For God.
For God.
So I just want to quickly go into these 3 men, these prophets, if you will.
Okay.
Lauren Cunningham. He is the guy who invented youth missions, basically.
Oh, I hate him.
If
I hate
you
him
ever
so
went
much.
on a youth mission or you know people that went on a youth mission,
Ugh.
he's the guy that really, really came up with the concept.
He's the man who ruined Jamaica.
Yep, for sure.
Okay.
He invented a company called Youth with a Mission.
They used to come to Philly.
Yep.
They used to come because whenever we were too poor and we were like living like a certain neighborhood, there would always be like kids would show up at our front door, be like, "You need Jesus." I'm like, "How come you never do this in the rich areas?"
Yeah,
they never go to the suburbs.
Never go to a cul-de-sac.
Nope, they've never. Not once
Nope.
will you see a missionary in a cul-de-sac.
That's because prosperity gospel. No, different
Okay,
thing to talk
different
about.
thing.
Okay, so Youth with a Mission has been active in evangelism. That's not how you say that. Okay, since 1972, they did the youth missions, right? They're going to Jamaica,
Yeah.
they're going to Hawaii, they're going to everywhere because
They're being annoying.
they're being super annoying.
But they're also writing off trips.
Yes.
Okay.
Big time.
It's weird how that works.
So the other thing that they were big into, that Lauren was big into,
Yeah.
was the Olympics.
The Olympics.
He loved the Olympics.
Wait, like the Olympics?
Yeah, the Olympics. So every year, wherever the Olympics were held, the Youth with a Mission would go there, and they would be active in their whole mission outside of they would try to convert people outside of the Olympics.
Oh, so Lauren could go to the Olympics.
I mean, that's probably what it was. But so
sorry, wait,
they
hold
would.
on. I forget I have that button sometimes. So let me just every
we're
now
gonna
and then
need
remember.
that later, but not right now.
Okay.
So, he basically they would be outside of the Olympics, and they'd be all the events. Because there's a lot of pre and post events at the Olympics, and they would show up and they would talk about God and the 7 mountains and the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it would be like your normal handing out pamphlets and talking stuff, but also they would put on impromptu stage plays.
What?
Yeah, theater kids.
What?
Theater kids.
What do you mean impromptu stage plays?
So they would just show up lay out like not cardboard boxes, but they lay out something flat, and
Like
then
a
they
tarp?
would like a tarp, and then a couple of the kids would do a show about Jesus.
What type of show?
A really good entertaining one, just on the streets.
What does that mean?
Um,
What do you mean? What are we reenacting here about Jesus?
It's not that.
Okay. It's not. We're not going through all the stages.
No, we're not Mel Gibsoning it.
Okay, that's gonna be my request. Okay.
Okay. Here's the one thing though. They were at every single Olympic game outside doing this, except for the 1980s games in Moscow.
Yes.
Because they were heavily boycotted, and it was
in the Soviet Union, and they would be arrested.
And they said there was, in quotes, little opportunity for evangelism because of communism.
Yeah.
So they blame the communists for ruining it. So I guess one for the commies on this one.
Fucking. You know what I love? That's the magic, because it's how it's pretty famous that Olympic Village is just like a suck and fuck paradise for just they're Olympic gods basically. Like they're the fastest man in Croatia, meets the best swimmer from Vietnam, right? Yeah. And then they just go and they smash. That's all they do. Imagine you have to walk through a throng of these fucking kids who are holding you pamphlets and doing little skits, and you're like,
little
man,
dances?
I'm just fucking horny.
Yeah.
I'm just horny.
I just
lost.
Train every day from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. I haven't eaten a carb in 6 years.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I am not here to hear about your little dance
Meanwhile,
for Jesus.
The fastest man in Croatia is like, I just lost to every Jamaican. And then the Jamaicans are like, hey, Steve, because every Jamaican knows these missionary kids.
Yeah, for sure.
They're constantly. I never forget that when I was in high school and kids would go on mission, and they would always be like, yeah, we went to mission in Jamaica. I'm like, Jamaica doesn't need you.
Yeah, Jamaica doesn't need you.
Jamaica's fine. Honestly, you're ruining paradise. Stop it.
Oh my God.
I can think of other places. A bigger one too for around here was Guatemala was another one where I was like, please just leave those people alone.
Just leave them alone.
I feel like
we have destabilized them enough to then show up and be like, do you want some of the fun things we have that we stole from you guys?
Yeah.
It's mean.
Yeah.
It's mean. Okay, guys?
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So we've done, this is one of the three.
I wasn't even done.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let me see what I lost my spot because I was zooming in on something else. So, okay, commies ruined that. Okay, he also founded a university called the University of Nations, which is an unaccredited college.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
I looked it up, and there was only two notable things about this college. In January of 2018, Pablo Rivero, the chief financial officer for the University of Nations in Kona, pled guilty to wire fraud. Rivera embezzled nearly $3.1 million, amounting to $50,000 per month. Before the fraud was exposed, the school's financial situation was critical, and they had increased charges that were applied to volunteers and students. So you had to pay to volunteer because this guy was embezzling so much.
You're paying to volunteer. That's incredible.
And then the other note, in October of 2020, the University of Nations in Kona was associated with the largest single-day increase of COVID-19 outbreak on the island of Hawaii up until that date.
We gotta just leave the Hawaiians alone.
We gotta leave them alone.
We honestly... Yeah.
This is who this guy is. I just want to paint a little picture.
Okay.
This is who this man is.
Bag of shit.
I think he's dead.
Okay.
Okay. The next guy I named was Bill Bright.
Okay.
Bill Bright, those.
I don't like the name. I don't like the name. It already feels bad.
Yeah.
I'm already upset.
It's gonna get worse for you.
Bill Bright feels like a name that you would hear at a hotel bar and be like, "Hi, I'm Bill Bright.
Yeah.
We're gonna find some ladies around here." You're like, no, I don't like this.
I don't think so. So you know those little booklets that they try to give you on the subway all the time?
Chick Tracks?
Chick Tracks?
Yep.
Bill is credited with basically inventing those.
Oh, fuck you, Bill.
Bill, he wrote, I guess, what's considered one of the most popular tracks of all time called The Four Spiritual Laws. If you saw it, you'd recognize it. It's like a rectangle and it's always in yellow. Anyway. In his life, he made over 100 books and booklets and thousands of articles and pamphlets that have been distributed and replicated in most major languages by the millions.
Okay.
So when it comes to tracks, he's the guy.
Gotcha.
Okay? He was named the 1996 recipient of the $1.1 million Templeton Prize for Progress in Religion. He donated that money to causes promoting the spiritual benefits of fasting and prayer. And I only put that in there because I don't know why you need money to talk about fasting. It's very specifically something where you don't need any money.
Yeah.
Fasting and prayer are free.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we need $1.1 million to talk about them.
Yeah. That's
It's just a
incredible.
wild thought.
All right. Bill Bright.
Okay.
Not a fan.
He was also the co-founder of the Alliance Defense Fund, which funds high-profile litigation cases on behalf of Christians' First Amendment rights, as well as litigation to end abortion access and restrict LGBTQ+ rights. He was the co-signator of the Land Letter of 2002, which outlined a just war rationale for the 2003 invasion of Iraq, providing the theological underpinning for the invasion being planned by President George W. Bush.
So this guy said that God chose us to invade Iraq. So my friends died because this guy said God told them to do this. So God has told this man to invade Iraq.
Yeah.
And movies?
Yeah.
Okay. Bill Bright, bag of shit.
Yeah.
All right.
He produced a film called Jesus in 1979, which was released by Warner Brothers in the United States. It was not a financial success, losing approximately $2 million. While praising its meticulous attention to authenticity, critics panned the film for being, quote, painfully monotonous. The Los Angeles Times calling it, quote, a dull Sunday school treatment of the life of Christ. In 1988, he led a protest against Martin Scorsese's film, The Last Temptation, and he called the film blasphemous. He offered to buy the film's negative from Universal in order to destroy it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bill Bright is such a piece of shit.
So that's Bill.
Okay.
Okay, we got the third guy.
Okay.
Is Francis Schaeffer.
Okay.
Schaeffer's book, A Christian Manifesto,
Okay.
was published in 1981 and later delivered as a sermon in 1982. This book was his answer to the Communist Manifesto. So it's a point-for-point manifesto against the Communist Manifesto.
Oh, okay.
Christian conservative leaders have credited Schaeffer for influencing their theological arguments, urging political participation by evangelicals. This is the guy that was the jumping board for them jumping into politics.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I hate them so much.
USA Today described him as one of oh wait, is this the right guy? No, I have a different point there. So yeah, that's who Francis is. There's actually a lot of weird information on Francis, but it's not actually interesting. So those are the three guys that they heard from God, and then they wrote the seven spheres. The idea was not considered seriously until the year 2000 during a meeting between Cunningham and Lance Wallnau. Now, this last name is spelled Wallnau. Wallnau?
Okay.
So Lance, hold on, let me skim back down. Lance is a kooky character, and honestly, I could do a whole episode on this guy, because once I started looking into it, I was like, wait, what is happening? Lance Wallnau was described by USA Today as one of only 3 evangelical leaders to accurately predict Donald Trump's presidency from the moment he began his campaign. His best-selling book, God's Chaos Candidate, broadcasts and viral media influence 3.5 million undecided evangelical voters. His prediction that Trump would be a modern-day Cyrus was challenged by left-wing news outlets, but vindicated on March 5th of 2018, the day Prime Minister Netanyahu met with President Trump in the White House to thank him for his historic embassy decision linking him to Cyrus. A New York Times op-ed quote Lance was the quote, "Could Trump be God's Cyrus?" Lance is an innovator who introduced the 7 mountains of culture as a fresh template to explain how the church must engage with culture at the turn of the century. Also, real quick, before you... Oh, no, you know what? You go ahead.
Okay, because you said so much there.
I did. I said a lot.
And without giving any context.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the first thing, let's go back to the very beginning of this.
Lance.
So what you're saying is this guy said since the moment Donald Trump was like, I'm running for president, this guy hooked his wagon.
Yeah.
And then they're like, he's one of the few that did it immediately. And like, look, he knew because God told him.
Yep.
Which Scott Adams, who did the Dilbert cartoons, did a very similar thing. A few of them. But that is also not talking about all the times that he linked to people who didn't become president. And I'm sure a Mike Huckabee's in there. I'm sure a Pat Buchanan's in there and a few others. Okay. So let's we're going to ignore that. The next part about being Cyrus. That is, Cyrus is one of the few non-Jews who was linked to be the Messiah in the Talmud. That's in the Old Testament when you're reading through it, because Cyrus was the leader of Babylon and the Persian Empire, and he freed the Jews at one point in Israel and all these different things. So he looked favorably upon. He's an Iranian that Israelis to this day look favorably upon. And so that's when this guy's like, he's going to be a modern day Cyrus. It's a way of calling him the Messiah without calling him Jesus. So he was trying to link the two of like, he's been chosen as like by God. He's anointed. He's like a prophet king type of thing, because he knew if I called him Jesus, that's jumping the gun too soon. In 2024, you can call Trump Jesus.
He sells Bibles now.
Yeah, exactly. So apparently very sticky Bibles.
What do you mean sticky?
I read a thing that like the printing is really bad. And so when the books sit in an area that has too much humidity, that the pages literally stick together.
That's incredible.
And they're $60. So now, now you can have, post 2020, you can have a gold statue of Trump. You can have your children pray to it. You can do all the different stuff. You couldn't do that on the come up, though.
Yeah.
And so this guy really hedged his bets by saying, so it's a deeper cut Cyrus that like, I never heard of this guy. And like saying he's Cyrus only really would like ping like a true evangelical, someone who goes to Bible study, you know, all those different things. So yeah, and then Netanyahu showing up saying here like Cyrus is because Trump said that the U.S. embassy was in Tel Aviv. The United States refused for the longest time until Trump's presidency to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. They would always say, no, your capital is Tel Aviv, as per the founding of the documents that we signed and everything else and the UN mandate and all these different things. So we always kept our embassy in Tel Aviv to be like, yeah, you guys are still working on that whole Jerusalem thing between Palestine and Israel. And now, as of 2018, Trump was like, nah, fuck that, dude. Fuck that. It's actually Jerusalem. We're moving our embassy over there. And then the Benjamin Netanyahu loved that. Because it was just another way for him to hit people with it.
So, okay. This, you know what's so crazy is like all of that, right? All of that. And then when I was trying to find him, I couldn't even find a wiki page on this guy. But I found his website and it's got like lots and lots of YouTube videos that he makes. And they're
love that.
And the one, like the whole top row was like prayers to do before you think about getting surgery. About how you can heal yourself through his prayers so you won't need surgery. And like what does the Bible say about gut health and your microbiome? Right, so it's like he's dabbling in that now.
What's the thing? Supplements.
Yeah, that's where
he's on the verge of supplements.
He's gonna have supplements soon.
Yeah. Okay.
He also would get involved in politics, and one of the ways he would do that is like maybe he would find a guy who he believed in's campaign, and he would back him financially and on his different media websites where again he has 3 to 5 million people listening according to him, and maybe he financially backed them through dark money, things like that, maybe in states what would be considered a swing state
allegedly.
And nope, there you don't have to allegedly, because I found the Rolling Stone article about when he fully backed and supported Doug Mastriano.
Yeah. He backed Doug Mastriano?
Financially and emotionally and spiritually.
For those
Doug Mastriano was his guy.
For those of you guys who don't know, Doug Mastriano was a governor candidate, Republican gubernatorial candidate here in Pennsylvania. Real bag of shit, looks like a thumb.
Yeah, looks like a thumb.
He was a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
He had lunatic ideas to the point where I was able to find, he was also an ex-army guy. I was able to find a document that Doug Mastriano wrote where he predicted basically January 6th, but that, they were forced to do it. But he expected it to happen in 2014 because of Obama, and he thought it would happen in Virginia. and he wrote it from the perspective. He wrote it like a YA novel. Is the best way to describe this.
Yeah.
Is he wrote it from the perspective of a soldier having survived the Second Civil War, writing about why the Second Civil War started. And it was because woke and sex and gay.
Yeah.
That was his reason. And so it's this guy in a cave. It read very much like a very bad version of World War Z, if anyone's ever read that by Max Brooke. So yeah, it's a very, very shit document. I actually talked to people who were running the campaign against him. I said, why did you never bring up this document? And they said, well, we tested it. We tested it, and it was so crazy that people didn't. It ended up being so insane that people stopped believing that we were telling the truth.
Yep.
They thought it was so crazy that it became a lie on our side, so we just never brought it up. They're like, we wanted to, but every time we tested it, no one would believe that a military officer would believe stuff this insane. Doug Mastriano was also later got in trouble because they had like a reenactors day in the Army. Where you could come dressed up as any uniform from the U.S. military, right? So there's a guy dressed up as a Revolutionary War soldier. There's a guy dressed up as World War II.
I don't know how this could go wrong.
Doug Mastriano showed up dressed as a Confederate soldier. Doug Mastriano really liked dressing up as a Confederate soldier.
Yeah.
A lot. Loved it. And now he is a state senator representing Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So, yep, that's really fucking. And now to this day, if you go to Gettysburg,
What happened in Gettysburg again?
Famously, the Confederacy got their ass whooped at Gettysburg.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know that if you went to Gettysburg today because the place is covered in Confederate flags because apparently losers breed at a fucking prodigious rate and all they can do is fucking hang flags up at places where they fucking lost. It feels like one of those roadside memorials to the dead when you go to fucking Gettysburg. Don't drink and drive around there, everybody, because if you do, they will fucking remember you forever as a fucking good guy who was just trying a little bit too hard.
Okay. Yeah. Once I saw the Doug
Fuck
Mastriano
that
article,
guy.
I was like, oh,
Fuck that
shit.
guy.
I was like, Alex has some strong opinions.
And then listen, on election day, oh fuck, I got stuck standing at my polling place, not with a Republican next with me, a fucking Doug Mastriano guy next to me, who was so fucking weird. He was so bizarre to so many people that I watched him lose Doug Mastriano votes.
Yeah.
He lost them votes. I saw a lady who looked at him dead in the face. She goes, I've only ever voted for fucking Republicans, but you've invaded my space for so many fucking minutes here that I'm going to go in there and I'm voting for the other guy. Fuck you. And I was like,
let him work.
oh,
let him cook.
Yep, keep going.
He's doing.
Keep going. The guy sucks so bad he was a Drake fan. Keep on.
Whoa.
All right.
Okay. So before we take our break.
We've barely even covered and we've mentioned who these guys are.
Listen, it's fine. Before
right.
we get to our break, I just want to do a quick glance at what the Seven Mountain Prophecy is. Right?
Okay.
And the great news is, within their PDF document that you can look up, at the end of it, they just do a highlight reel, basically. There's also a graph that they made so that you can easily figure out which mountain you're talking about. Okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you so much.
I love a TLDR.
Thank you.
Yep.
So real quick, the Elijah Revolution, this is what happened. This is what we're talking about.
Okay.
The world and the church are in need of an extreme makeover. The coming Elijah revolution will have transforming dynamics as powerful as a tsunami, and it will affect the entire world, including the church. This move of God will have all the characteristics of ministry of Elijah. It will be prophetic and powerful, and it will prepare us for the way the Lord to return. Right? Cool. That's the whole basis of this.
Okay.
Is God's going to come back as a tsunami, which is interesting because the paragraph right before that, it says like chapter 1, just as the Asian tsunami of 2004 suddenly raised the sea level and changed the landscape of everything in its path, so is the coming spiritual tsunami.
What the fuck?
That's an actual quote.
They tied those together.
Yes.
They watched the Christmas tsunami happen. And instead of being moved, they were like, man, that's like the Lord right there.
That's like God right there.
Literally sea levels are rising. And they're like, you know what we got to do? We got to fucking
Not climate change.
We got to change movies and invade Iraq.
Yep.
What the fuck?
So let me tell you about these mountains.
Okay.
Hittites. Hittites and the Mountain of Media.
What?
It's Hittites.
Isn't that Hittites?
Or is it Hittites?
Okay.
Okay, so the word Hittite comes from the word meaning terror and fear, exactly the characteristics of modern news media, which focuses overwhelmingly on negative news and even decides which negative stories gets the most airtime and headlines. The principality of Apollon, meaning destroyer, who sits atop the mountain of media, twists the news and enslaves people by magnifying their fears. Elijah's revolutionaries, who will function essentially as true evangelists, will report news accurately, even when it's bad news, but will be able to find the redemptive angle in every story. Their words will powerfully prophesize the blessings of God to the world. That's the first mountain.
The first mountain. So the first mountain is spinning the news.
Is media, yes.
Okay, spinning the news.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spinning the news.
News spin.
So like it's when I read this, my first thought was, because again I had deep dived into these people, and I was like, oh, so this is every time one of these people gets on TV and they're like, oh, well, I'm sorry that child was raped, but it's a blessing that there'll be a baby. It's that. It's terrible news, but we have to make it good because God's prophesizing that it's all good.
Because it's all God's plan.
Yeah.
Because they're Drake fans.
Oh God, how many times are we talking about Drake in this episode?
So I'm just gonna keep. This is a good bit.
The next mountain is the mountain of government.
Okay.
Most people consider politics, quote, of the devil. That's because Christians have abandoned it to the devil. The Girgashites, whose name means dwelling in clay soil, represent the earthly desires and corrupt ambitions common to this mountain. Lucifer, the prince of this mountain, will be displayed for those who ascend. Anyway, it talks a lot about that, but it's mostly about how you got to get in the government because it's full of devils.
Okay, so we got news.
Yep.
And we got government.
Yep, news and government. Those are our first two mountains.
Okay.
Third mountain, Amorites and the mountain of education.
Okay.
Highly influential educational institutions that begun centuries ago as Christian colleges and universities are now saturated in liberal, humanistic philosophies. The mountain of education is dominated by schools like Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, each of which has educated numerous world leaders. The Amorites, I don't know, on this mountain, who represent pride, boasting, and haughtiness, characterize the man exalting ideals of humanism, liberalism, rationalism, and atheism. God's judgments will soon be clear enough that people will stop wondering if there is a God and ask instead what they should do about his existence.
So what you're saying is they don't want the wokes to have septum piercings?
Yeah, they're
okay. Got it.
And then it goes on about Beelzebub and all of that, but mostly it's the liberal kids and their blue hair. You know how it is.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay, so then the next one is the mountain of economy, and that's the Canaanites. That seems pretty. I might not get that one wrong.
The Canaanites.
There you go. I was so close. The twin lies of greed and poverty both grow out of influence of the principalities of Mammon or Babylon. The lying spirit convinces people everywhere that money is their true source of provision. It prefers to enslave people in poverty, but where God blesses with abundance, it twists abundance into greed for more.
I do like so the guy who told them that they should invade Iraq is blaming Iraq for their economy.
Yeah,
because he's bringing up Babylon, which is in Iraq.
Yeah,
and also they pray to Mammon. It's like, all right, well, that sounds like communism to me. If you're against the lies of wealth and poverty,
yeah,
it sounds like you want everyone to be exactly the same, bud. That sounds a little bit
communism.
Dum dum dun 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 dun.
There's the one sentence that also I was like, this it gets so crazy.
Yeah.
God calls his people to come out of the system. Those who depend exclusively on him will, quote, eat the wealth of nations. So they're not trying to eat the rich.
Yeah.
They're trying to eat the wealth of nations. That's different. That's stealing.
That's a little bit different.
Okay, so the next mountain.
I like how this does that line does remind me of when. Did you ever know any kids who were into Christian rock when you were in school? You went to Catholic school, yes. You didn't have the Christian rock kids. We had some out here at the public schools.
Yeah.
And I remember they tried to turn me the Newsboys was a big one they'd always push me towards, or some other groups like that. And whenever they put it on, I'm like, it's just. It sounds like they're trying to be another band.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Eat the Wealth of Nations means. It's like it's eat the rich, but they couldn't make it poppy.
Yeah.
And they knew that they weren't going to win that messaging. That's amazing. All right, so the economy. What's number 5?
Next mountain, religion. Which I feel like
they're already in.
I was like, you already have this mountain. What
They're
are you talking
in.
about?
Okay, well, just skip it. We're
skipping it. We don't care. You already in this mountain, guys.
Yeah.
Next mountain, the mountain of celebration.
Mountain of celebrate birthdays?
The mountain of celebration includes arts, music, sports, fashion, entertainment, and every other way we celebrate and enjoy life.
Oh, so fun. They want to take over
The
fun.
mountain of fun.
Fuck, dude.
This mountain has so thoroughly been captured by
How is
Satan's hordes that most believers aren't sure if it can be possessed by God. But God's spirit wants to move freely through creativity and passion of his people. This mountain must be taken from the Hivites, who counterfeit true celebration with corrupt substitutes.
Why wouldn't you give this mountain to the high titties? If you're going to give
If
any
you're going to
mountain
give them to their titties, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the celebration. That's such bullshit. Everything they listed is just fun. It's just good old-fashioned fun.
The spirit of Jezebel prostitutes the good gifts of God,
fuck
and
off.
the role of prophets will be to see through the deceptions of pop culture and offer real and lasting alternative to our society, especially its youth, who live and breathe on this mountain during their teen years.
I hate this.
Okay.
You make me so mad.
Okay, next mountain, family.
Family?
The family mountain.
Okay.
I
don't like that.
It's just as bad as you think it's going to be.
Yeah,
restoring the
Patriarchy,
the
head
family,
father.
yeah.
Did I ever tell you about the time I got kicked out of Focus on the Family? Because I pointed that out on their paperwork. Well, because they were like, oh, you know, the how'd they put it? The government was the protector of the church.
Mm-hmm.
The church is the protector of the family. Like, that's like their layout.
Yeah, and then
like,
it's an umbrella because
Yeah.
I always see it when I do this research.
Yeah.
And then the church protects the family's protected by the dad.
Yeah.
And then the dad protects the mom, and the mom protects the kids.
Yeah. It's this whole thing. When I was at the Focus on Family compound, again, this is like 2009, I think. Or maybe it's 2006. I don't remember. It was a different guy back then.
Yeah.
I was having different thoughts about the world. Anyway, I was there, and I'm looking at this poster, and they had pins in all the different places that they had done missionary work.
Yeah.
The Focus on the Family is spreading their message, and they had pins covering all of China. And I asked them, I said, hey, question for you. Are you guys doing missionary work in China? And they said, yeah, we're doing missionary work in China. We just can't talk about the church. I was like, okay, but under your mission, you state that the government is the protector of the church and the church is the protector of the family. Mm-hmm. Does that mean in China that you're telling the people that the government protects the family and therefore you're pushing protection of the Chinese government? And then they asked me to leave.
Yeah.
They were like, you need to leave.
Yeah. Hey, this is a Wendy's.
Yeah. Well, the Wendy's doesn't usually have shotguns and ATVs.
Were you invited there?
They have a tour. I was taking the tour.
I remember this. We did talk about this before.
Did we talk about it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so the one line from the Mountain of the Family that I was like, wow, the principality on this mountain is Baal, the worship of whom was involved in sexual rituals and child sacrifice.
I was about to say, like,
So-
what? Oh, that's right, because they're giving it to a demon. They said a demon has it, and right now it's Baal.
And that's
Who
it, right?
was,
That's 7.
2, 4, 6. Yeah, that's 7.
That's all the mountains.
That's all the mountains.
Yeah.
It's amazing that they picked the Carthaginian god. But anyway, all right.
So I think we could take a break before we get to the second half of why I even got into this.
Okay. We're back.
Yeah.
You've taught me all about the 7 mountains now
Okay,
and
yeah,
which
you needed
demons.
to have that in
I
your
needed
mind.
context.
You needed that.
I
Okay, it
need-
was important
Demonic context.
for the sacrifices.
Yeah.
So 7M Films. That's what we're going to talk about. A company called 7M.
Okay. And
Guess what the 7M stands for?
It stands for 7 mountains.
That's right. You
Okay.
are so smart.
I thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
7M Films was registered as a California business in 2021 and is owned by Robert Israel Shin, who also is the pastor of the I'm going to say this so wrong. Shekinah, because it's S-H-E-K. You spelling this with your pen? S-H-E-K-I-N-A-H.
I-A-N-H?
Yeah.
Like that?
Let me say. I-N-A-H. Yeah. So,
I know
Shekinah?
it. Yeah, I know what that spells.
What?
It spells made the fuck up.
Okay, so he's the pastor of the Shekinah Church, founded in Los Angeles in 1994. So the church was started in 1994 by this guy.
Okay.
And then he registered this business in 2021. That's
Okay.
7M.
I'm going to throw something out there.
Yeah.
Just because, again, we're East Coasters. I don't trust anything that is that new.
Yeah.
1994. I'm like,
I don't know
no.
about that.
No. When a church around here is like, yeah, 1870, something. And then if a church around here is like, when were you established? 1994. I'm like, nope.
I saw an incredible TikTok where it was like this little kid was like, yeah, my mom was born in 94, and I died.
Yeah.
I was like, you're commenting on the same TikTok I'm watching.
Yeah.
And your mom is younger than me.
Yeah.
Substantially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so he has the church, and then he starts 7M Films. The 7M staff include his son, Isaiah, his wife, Hannah, and an attorney named Shirley Kim.
Okay.
Just what you
that's
need.
it.
That's all you need to start off a business.
Okay.
in
So
entertainment.
Nepo baby, lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So now I want to introduce the Wilkins sisters, as they were known. They danced together since childhood. They started a camp in their backyard in Michigan, and they would do like dances with all the neighborhood kids. And then I think they really like started like an actual summer camp where like people would send their kids for the day.
Okay.
It was a little weird, but because they were kids, so I was like, I don't know who's in charge here. The sisters gained popularity and fame through their dance videos on TikTok.
Oh, okay.
So they became TikTok famous for the dancing.
You can't trust anyone's TikTok famous.
Nope, not at all.
Nope.
And they moved to LA.
LA?
They moved to LA
Okay.
to pursue their dancing careers.
Okay.
Miranda was signed to 7M Films, a talent management agency company specializing in young dancers, where she gained a significant social following and appeared on shows like Access Hollywood and the American Music Awards.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, they actually got her on stuff then.
They got her own stuff and things.
Okay. And this is what year is this? It's like 2022?
It's in the early 2020s.
Okay.
So,
Well,
yeah,
7M's
so
founded
2021.
in 21.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
2021.
okay.
Miranda's involvement with 7M began in late 2019. There it is. So
Okay.
it's the thing about the 7M is they have changed their own backstory so many times
Yeah.
because of legal proceedings.
Litigation.
So there's things that are happening. So it's like, no, we started then, and no, this was who was in charge.
Gotcha.
So
there's a shifting
allegedly.
time scale.
Oh, by the way, I'm
Okay.
gonna need an allegedly button.
There you go.
Probably a lot.
Okay.
Because I also found out while doing this research that 7M is incredibly litigious.
Gotcha.
And when I started looking up their name to like see different lawsuits, they sue like drama channels, like YouTube drama channels.
Oh, really?
And like Instagram drama people. And there's this one gal, I don't remember her name, but it was incredible because in the legal documents, they point out every time she posted about 7M and how corrupt they are.
Yeah.
But in the legal documents, so it's like this kind of proves the whole point what she's saying. Anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, stop that now. So that began in 2019, and by January 2021, she had cut off communication with her family, even missing her grandfather's funeral.
Oh.
Miranda underwent noticeable changes, cutting off contact with most of her friends and family and altering her dance style and changing her appearance. Miranda's family expressed concern over her well-being, claiming she's being manipulated and controlled by the group she had joined. Her parents came to visit her in LA shortly after, but they were turned away.
Oh, so they flew all the way to LA, and then
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, she's not here.
Yeah, I think she talked to them, but it wasn't like, it was like maybe like on the stoop. Like it was very weird. And the
Yeah,
information
yeah.
is very vague about the thing. Oh, also, I have to say this, is I had a hard time researching information because a lot of it's been pulled. And like, so I know there's this Rolling Stone article, but the rights to the Rolling Stone article are owned by HBO right now because I believe there's going to be a Netflix documentary coming out about this.
Yeah.
And I think HBO is doing something too.
Okay.
So a lot of the information isn't like as publicly available
as it was?
as it was.
Because they're all like, oh, I want the big
They're
reveal.
all nomming it up.
Gotcha.
So, and I was like, I started this at Hillsong last year, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Catch up. So I've had these tabs open for a year. They've just been a little tab on the side. Don't
Yeah.
forget to open that one again.
Yeah.
Miranda refuted claims that she's being held against her will, saying that she's just like in her freedom to pursue her faith and her career how she chooses. She did delete all of the videos from her Instagram and blocked her friends and family. And she did marry another member of 7M Films management, who she had worked with for less than a year. And her family watched all of this happen on social media through dance videos. by the way, through dance
videos.
through dance.
Okay.
We're experiencing all of this through dance.
Incredible. Okay.
So-
Gotcha.
In February 2020, Melanie, that's the sister, had an emotional Instagram live session, claiming that her sister Miranda had joined a cult, and she stated that Miranda was part of this religious group that forbade her from talking to her. And so basically she just went live and was like crying about her sister and freaking out.
Yeah. On Instagram.
Yeah. Miranda, through her 7M lawyers, expressed disappointment with her family's actions and emphasized the need for boundaries with her in her relationship for them.
Ooh, she hit him with the therapy talk.
She hit him with the therapy talk.
Okay.
The Instagram live video went viral, though, sparking headlines about TikTokers being, quote, held hostage by a quote, cult.
Yeah. A TikTok cult.
Leading to a wave of testimonies from friends and family and people affiliated with 7M talking about how their loved ones had changed once they joined the company, and, you know, they're not the same. They don't talk to them. So it started coming out over TikTok. As you know, when things go viral, people start duetting things.
And then there's a dog pile starts in as well. Yeah.
So, many accounts, people started talking about the church's influence within the media company.
Okay.
So, the guy she married, his name is B Dash. His name is Derek, but he goes by B Dash.
No.
Yeah. B-dash.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. So there's a man in California. I'm going to ask the question right now.
Okay.
Is he a rapper or is he a dancer?
You're going to need to hold on.
Because this is sounding very much like B-Rad from Malibu's Most Wanted.
Yeah, which was quoted in what?
Was quoted in a very recent in Meet the Grams.
Which is?
Was it Meet the Grams or was it the other one? It was one of the Kendrick Lamar diss tracks
against Drake. Yeah. Okay, so we're back at it.
We're back in it.
So B Dash spent a portion of the pandemic with Wilkins, and that's how they like built the relationship. When the family was like making all of these like outcry videos and going to the press about how their daughter had been kidnapped by a cult, and like this guy she's marrying, she doesn't even know him, because they're all like getting on social media talking about it.
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
And Derek says they just disapprove of him because he's black.
Oh, okay.
And then the family is like, that's not true, because Melanie's also dating a black person. And so then it became that kind of fight. And I was like, wait, what, guys?
Wait, so they have one daughter that isn't in the cult.
Yeah. Melanie got out. They both started in 7M.
Okay, so they both moved to
They're
LA.
dance. Yeah.
One stays, one leaves.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Melanie's the one that went Instagram Live crying, I miss my sister.
Gotcha.
And then Miranda's the one who married Derek.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
this is all a family fight, but it's all on social
And
media.
these are both white girls.
Yeah.
And then they're both dating black men.
Yes.
Okay, and it's being weaponized.
It's being weaponized.
That whole component's
It's
being
insane.
weaponized. Gotcha.
Okay, so he went on to defend 7M, saying, you know, they helped him become successful quickly, and he loves the church and he loves the 7M, but he like
B Dash is saying this.
B Dash is saying that.
Okay.
Because he's defending himself on social media, I assume through dance. Okay, and talking. So his friends.
No, it's not a cult. It's not a cult. All I can picture is somebody pop locking.
Yeah.
And
No,
then-
I'm totally free to leave. I'm totally free to leave. His personality and everything and style changed significantly. He started wearing like suits and would do different dance styles.
Okay.
He also, after being in the church for a while, started to question mainstream narratives like COVID-19 and the legitimacy of Joe Biden's presidency.
There it is.
So,
Which mountain is that again? That's the second mountain.
It's got a mountain right there.
He's got a second mountain because he's
We
already hanging
stay
out.
on the media mountain.
Yeah.
We stay on the fun party mountain.
Yeah.
And then we dabble in the other mountains.
Yeah,
See what I'm
we
saying?
got it. We got it. Because
Okay.
he's right now. So B Dash is in the family mountain.
Yep.
He's in the celebration mountain.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the government mountain, and he's in the news mountain. We still have to do education, economy, and religion here, bud. I guess a religion. We'll give him a religion.
Yeah.
That's like honestly for the 7 mountains, for them, since it is a religious thing.
Yeah.
That's like free space in bingo.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
automatically get the free
You
space.
get the religion right there.
Yeah.
Bing.
Bing,
Okay.
bang, boom.
I want to take you
Bing, bing, bing.
somewhere else real quick. We have a little sidebar.
Okay.
speaking of dancing, do you know what crumping is?
The fuck yeah, I know what crumping is.
Could you crump?
No.
No,
I'm not going to
you're
crump.
not going to crump?
I'm not going to crump.
I got the definition. A crump is a street dance style that originated in the 1990s and 2000s in South Central LA, California.
Yep.
And it is characterized by energetic and aggressive movements and intense facial expressions and shouts. Yeah, crumping.
Yeah, my favorite part about crumping was that there was a clown crumping at one point.
Stop talking right now.
Wait, shut up.
The fuck up. Because I'm going to pull up a picture right now of Tommy the Clown. So
This is Tommy the Clown. This is the clown crumping.
That's the clumping crown.
This?
That's
the thing?
yeah.
This is part of 7M?
No, but it's a part we need to
Okay.
talk about.
Okay.
So yeah, wait, hold on. We gotta get a better shot for the peoples, because Tommy is very important to the crumping culture. Okay, like
I know of Tommy the Clown. Yeah, I know Tommy the Clown.
hold that up. Show it to the people.
I know Tommy the Clown.
Yeah, Tommy the Clown.
Yeah.
So his real name is Thomas Johnson. He's a dancer and entertainer who's credited with pioneering the clowning dance style during the 1990s.
I remember this being on like 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
I remember this being on the news. They were like, this is what the kids are into. And I was like, no, we're not. I was like sitting there as a kid being like, we're not into this, dude.
Well, there were some people.
I mean, there were some, but they were acting like it was big. Like that was the first time, you know how we talk about like not industry plants, but when there's times when like the media makes a thing seem like it's bigger than it is.
Yeah, they're like, they got two tweets.
That was the first thing to me where I was like, no, yeah, 2 tweets. The entire internet is inflamed. You found 7 people who had a problem.
Yeah.
It's not the entire internet. All the kids are into clowning. No, we aren't.
No, I wish we were. Miming. If we all got into miming, that'd be hilarious.
Into miming?
Okay, so
Silent protest through mime.
he's born in LA. Tommy
Okay.
began his career as a professional clown performing at birthday parties and other events.
Okay.
Tommy noticed a rising influence of gang violence in his community and decided to use dance as a positive outlet for local youth.
Yep.
And he created Tommy the Clown Foundation and started teaching clowning as a way to keep kids off the street and away from gang activity.
Sure.
Okay. We need to know him because one of his proteges, he was the mentor of Tight Eyes. That's tight, and then the second word is EYEZ, Tight Eyes, whose real name is Cesar Willis. He emerged as a prominent dancer in the crump movement because he was, one of Tommy's earliest students. Tight Eyes became more involved in his faith, and he began to question certain aspects of the crump culture and the lifestyle. So he felt conflicted because of his newfound religion.
Okay, so he went so religious crumping was out?
The crumping was out.
He couldn't just wait for time.
The crump culture.
He couldn't just wait for time
I didn't
to
say there was
pass.
a mountain called Crumping.
Okay, I know. I understand
Crump
that.
Mountain.
I understand that. I'm just saying is like when crumping started, I remember being like 17 being like, well, this can't last. And
We're
then
going to
this-
throw our hips out.
But then
a
man who goes by Tight Eyes was
Tight
like,
Eyes.
nah, the only way to stop this is the Lord.
Yeah. So Tight Eyes was ready to mentor other kids with crumping and other dance. So he started his own crew called the Street Kingdom. And they worked with a preacher named David Gurley. And it's, Girley, Gurley.
Okay.
He's a former basketball player, college basketball player, and he did serve time for sexual assault before finding God. And he often described himself as a prophet. So he seems like a good guy to get up with.
Yep.
Instead, I guess. As Tight Eyes tells it, quote, members of the Street Kingdom are not required to attend services at the church. But it's strongly encouraged. But it did create an environment where it felt prohibitive to not go to church. You wouldn't get as many.
Yeah, well, it's like when the football coaches start praying in the middle of the field and the Supreme Court says that's okay, but then you realize you're never going to get off the bench if you don't go pray in the middle of the field with the coach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One of those type of feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dance crew was often booked to do industry jobs. So they would do...
These are the clowns still. Are we still
No,
talking about
he's left the clowns.
Okay,
he was
he's left
not
the
about
clown.
the Crump lifestyle.
Okay. He left
Because
clowning
he needs
behind.
to be in the church.
So Tie-Dye's joined the church. He creates his own dance crew.
Yeah.
He's traveling around and where's 7M come in? Are we getting there?
Well, 7M. Yeah, we're gonna get to 7M.
Okay.
But I need you to know that when he now is running this dance group called Street Kingdom. Okay. He took everything he learned from Tommy the Clown.
Okay.
He started his own thing, Street Kingdom.
Okay.
And they're going from church to church throughout the West Coast doing Crump Christ shows.
Okay.
That's what it's called, Crump Christ.
This reminds me of like the Tower of Power guys.
Yeah.
Did you ever have those show up to your high school?
No.
No?
You think the Catholics are going to let those in?
Okay. So we had these guys who were muscle men. What? Yeah. We had muscle men who showed up to my public high school.
Oh, no.
And the thing is they weren't allowed to talk about Jesus during school hours.
Okay.
So they showed up and they were really strong and they were like, we're big, strong guys and we're going to do at the football field. You remember, you see where I went to high school.
Yeah.
At the football field, we're going to go in there. We're going to do all these like amazing feats of strength. And they were strong guys. Like we're going to run through a solid block of ice and like rip phone books and like lift stuff that's very heavy. And so it was like really cool. And they came in and like they ripped a phone book and they like lifted something really like they lifted like two teachers like with their bare hands and like lifted them in the air while they stood on like a barbell. And then like I didn't go to the thing that night because you had to pay for it. It was like $5 or $10 for like a ticket. And a bunch of my friends went and they were like, yeah, they did like some weightlifting stuff for like 15 minutes and then they talked to us about Jesus for 45.
Oh, they made you pay to get into that?
Yeah.
That's a real bummer.
But that's like this thing, what you're describing.
What you're describing is in that season of Righteous Gemstones.
Yes.
When he gets all the boys.
Yes, it's almost the same thing. Yeah, except he doesn't have them leave the house.
Yeah.
They just stay at the house oiling each other up and lifting weights.
Yeah.
These were men who were
the part.
These were men who were clearly on steroids.
Allegedly.
And their job was to go to local high schools.
Impress the guys.
Impress the men.
Yeah, because girls are like, whatever.
Girls are like, okay, you have weird, gross, big muscles. Like,
Yeah.
these aren't even, like, attractive. Like,
No.
this is this weird...
This is for boys that watch a lot of wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. This is for boys who want to beat up their stepdad. Like, there's a specific guy who this was being tailored to. And I'll never forget
one
it.
guy signed up.
I'll never forget my friend Tommy went to it. And the next day, he was like, it got weird. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm thinking pyrotechnic mishap. He's like... They ripped a phone book, then talked about Jesus for 45 minutes, and I could see the phone book was pre-ripped.
What?
Because they'd had to do like a little starter rip, you know?
Oh, my God.
So he's like, they definitely like cut a starter rip in it.
You have to.
And then, the guy...
It's called show business.
You
It's
listen.
one of the mountains. Okay.
Celebration.
So, the Crump Christ shows is where I left off. The dancers of the group were also encouraged to date and marry and move in with fellow members of the church.
Yep.
Several members, including Tight Eyes and B Dash, got married and had children during their time in the church. This is where Tight Eyes and B Dash meet each other
Okay.
as part of the Crump Christ shows.
Gotcha.
And that's how Tight Eyes gets in the 7M.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so Tight Eyes gets in the 7M.
Wait, so was B-Dash already married when he met this influencer?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. No, he met the influencer through 7M.
Okay, but you just said that they were both married while in the church.
They both were in the church crumping on TikTok.
Okay.
And then were...
Gotcha. Okay.
Same thing?
Yeah, the timeline's all weird for me.
Yeah, no, it's a weird timeline. And so the many sources claim that 7M requires all of its clients to participate in regular Bible studies as a prerequisite for representation. 7M denies this.
Yeah.
They just say they want to do it. 7M maintains that they are separate from Shin's Shekinah church and the dancers are not forced to be members, although some dancers openly mention their membership in the church.
Can we just call it the Shecky Church? Like
Sure.
Shecky Green.
Okay.
Okay.
7M lawyers deny allegations of encouraging dancers to cut off their friends and family or using Bible study as a recruitment tactic.
Okay.
Okay. Despite its turbulent history, the church continues to operate with about 35 worshipers and plans to operate out of a gated former school in a new neighborhood. And Robert Shin has multiple businesses registered in California, including other entertainment-related ventures.
There's only 35 members?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy small.
It's crazy. But you know what's weird?
Like,
That's
I was
what
thinking,
it said about LA or the
Yeah.
California. But I looked it up, and there's one of these 7 mountain churches near us. So, like, I think the 7 mountain belief system, you're allowed to kind of
franchise.
franchise it. Yeah, like you open
Yeah.
your own Dunkin' Donuts. Like, you're allowed to franchise it.
Yeah.
And so I think that his specific congregation has 35
But
members.
it's still not a lot.
And
like,
then
that's still
all
crazy.
like a TikTok business worth of people.
Yeah. I mean, that's still just like a crazy small amount.
You're thinking too small. We got to think like the mountains. He might only have 35 influencers, but they have millions of followers. Okay? That's a lot, okay? You got to think bigger.
What's this one girl's the one influencer's name?
I don't know. Hold on.
No. I just want to know what her account is.
But if I scroll up, I'm going to lose my spot. I'm almost done.
Okay. I just want to know if I have more followers than her. What?
You are a monster.
I'm standing on the mountain of celebration, right?
Despite assurances from 7M, a number of brands have pulled their partnerships since all of this came out.
Yeah.
None of the 7M dancers have left the agency, per 7M's lawyers. They're saying that nobody left because of this stuff.
Okay. They're just not there anymore.
7M dancers have doubled down on their production, posting lots of videos and making sponsored posts for Fitbit and Forever 21. So they're still doing their thing. They're still getting their sponscons. Recently, though, 3 dancers who previously worked with the company 7M have filed suit against Robert Shin. And that is this gal Aubrey, Kylie, and this guy Kevin Davis, who goes by Concrete, and that is spelled Konkrete, Concrete.
Okay.
I believe he may have been one of the Crumpers.
I think he was too.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I have a name I can look up.
Are you gonna look up Concrete?
I need to know because if he has more than me, it's gonna make me very mad.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably does because it sounds like all these people were on here for a very long time. Nope, I have more than Concrete. I have more TikTok followers than you.
The app's gonna die in a couple months.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, the government's going to take it out. I mean, Ben Romney even admitted, he's like, yeah, we did it because Israel's PR is bad.
Yeah.
Like, that was actually in a fucking thing.
So that's basically it. There's this huge lawsuits coming out.
Yeah.
And there's these 2 documentaries that are supposed to come out exposing all this stuff. And yeah, I just felt like I wanted to look more into what these 7 mountains were because it's very strange. But it's also interesting because like every time I dove deep into like these guys, it's so clear that they like came together and they were like, we need to infiltrate every part of society so we can take over. And we're seeing it happen in real time now. Like this was they invested in this thought process in the 60s and we're seeing it come to fruition now.
Yeah.
And I'm pissed.
No, because it's the same thing. These 1975, as you saw, or 1973 or so, you said it started. Here we are in 2024. We're about 50 years later. The same exact thing happened with the Roe v. Wade decision and them building the Dobbs case and building everything around it.
Yeah.
Like, all of these things have been long games that conservatives have been able to do both like through their networks and through their churches and through like locking in generations of people to do that. We don't have that on the left. On the left, more recently, it's becoming reactionary from both the conservatives because they don't have any new ideas.
Yeah.
And then on the left, they've been reacting to reactions. So we're all just reaction streamers barking out our own reflections.
Yeah, that sounds right.
You know, hasn't been a movement. I mean, I had a meeting the other day and I was screaming at somebody like, well, how do we win? I'm like, you spend the next 25 years investing in education programs.
Yeah.
And they were staring at me like, what? I'm like, fucking, have you not seen Turning Point USA? Like, have you not seen the PragerU?
The Mountain
Have you
of
not
Education?
seen, these got all these different guys out here. I'm like, they're targeting so young. The reason why guys like Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro and these fuckers with the Daily Wire are constantly harping on kids' cartoons is because they're trying to break off a generation of conservatives' children from the mainstream media so then they can mold them however they want.
Yeah.
That way, when the kids end up in that Rumspringa age of Amishness, they end up failing and they come running back to the church.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's super fun. It's fun. I love having my brain break.
That's what our podcast is about.
It's just breaking
It's
my
about
brain.
breaking our brain, the collective brain. No, it's not about that. It's about understanding how all of these things start and play out so that we have the context for what's happening around us.
That's true.
That
That's a good one.
empowers you to make good decisions and talk. Not talk. I don't know what I mean. Like you can speak.
You were
about,
doing so good.
I was doing really
You were
well.
doing so good, and
Yeah.
then suddenly the baby screaming at 3 a.m. just came crawling in the background and was like, "So we can talk good." Like that was what you were about to say. You were about to say talk good.
Yeah.
And you're fucked because we haven't slept in weeks.
I'm not going to start anytime soon.
No,
It's fine.
no.
You're going to power through. That's why
Sleep.
God invented the
regression.
mountain of coffee. For me.
Yeah.
He said, have you considered climbing the mountain of coffee?
Yeah.
And I said, yes, I will.
Reading by the demon mermaid or whatever it
Yeah.
is. That actual thing is supposed to be.
Oh, I don't drink that kind of coffee.
No, I know, but I'm saying
I
was
buy
just
my
making,
coffee from the grocery
no,
outlet.
but you know how whenever people do like Starbucks and they're like, "Oh, the Starbucks mermaid," but that's not actually a mermaid. Like that is some weird goddess on
Oh,
the
is
Starbucks
it?
symbol. Yeah, there's like this whole thing about it, and then like some people when they go really crazy on Starbucks, like they're like, "Oh, it's actually demonic."
Oh, like that Monster Energy drink lady. Remember?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
about how that M is something. But there's a thing with the Starbucks. Hold on, it's gonna bug me. Mermaid.
I don't like Starbucks coffee. Never have. It tastes burnt.
Yeah, but it's actually like a lady.
She's got two tails. She got her.
It's a siren.
Oh, all
Yeah,
right.
it's like a siren thing. But there's like a specific name because that's why it has the two tails on the logo. It used to be more obvious. If you look at the old Starbucks logo,
Yeah.
you see like that. See how she has boobs?
She got titties out.
Yeah, she got tits out.
Dang.
But yeah, it's a twin-tailed siren. But everyone's like, "Oh, it's a mermaid." It's like, well, kind of, but not. There's a little bit different.
In this economy, we're just going to grocery outlet and buying whatever bag of beans they got. Okay.
Bag of beans.
The amount of coffee I'm going through these days. Oh.
Yeah. No, that's
I need
true.
a bag of beans and a bag of rice and a bag of lentils. Let's go.
Well, you've taught me a lot about this.
Thanks.
So now I have primer for when I inevitably watch these documentaries.
Yeah.
which is
Well,
good.
no, because one of them was Netflix, so we'll probably never watch
We're never
that
going
one.
to see that one. But
We'll
we'll
might see
the,
if the HBO one.
Yeah, good, unless they start doing password crackdown.
No, because
You better not. So with that, Mrs. P, this is a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
So now let's go give some shout outs.
Let's go.
To our Patreons.
Pearlmania, 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 500.
And we're back and we're here. It's
You were
our
supposed
time.
to say promania.net.
500.net. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm also tired.
That's why I'm here to help you remember to talk good.
Everyone is so tired. All right. So we have quite a few.
Yeah.
We're going to go through real quick. And these are all different people who have joined at either the $5 or the $30 level on Pearlmania500.net.
There it is.
Starting off, we have Felix Dubus Wolf.
Hey, hon.
Or it could be Dubois, but it doesn't look like it's spelled Dubois. That
No, I
looks
know.
like a Dubus to me.
Dubus.
Thank you, Felix Wolf. After that, we have about to have the best summer breaks. Thanks, _2, Mrs. P's, book, club.
Thank you. I think listening to the book club episodes during the summer is
I think it's a good
an
way.
incredible idea.
Listen, if you're taking a nap on the beach, if you're taking a nap on a bus.
Are you outside gardening?
Maybe you're just
Why
taking.
are you saying they're sleeping while they're listening?
No, like you're just like laying out. You're lounging.
You're lounging?
Like it's a hot day. You have a lemonade and you're on the hammock.
Are you out at the lake sitting on one of those chairs that you buy at Cracker Barrel? You know the chairs? What are those chairs?
A rocking chair?
No, they sell those other chairs.
What? Oh, what do you mean?
The big wooden chairs that are always on people's docks.
Oh, like one of those, like a dock chair?
I guess.
Is that what
But
they're
I don't know what
called?
it's called.
You're just talking about just those. There's a one very specific type of chair that
Yeah,
you're describing.
and
They
then-
have like wood planks to them.
Yeah. And you sit
Okay.
on there and you listen to a podcast while you watch people go by on kayaks.
Okay.
I'm the people on the kayaks.
Okay,
Aggressively battling.
It makes me so mad that you want us to be lake people.
I am lake people.
I
I just
refuse.
haven't been able to
Ever
live
since-
in my truth.
No, ever since I watched that one Stephen King movie where the lake starts eating people, I've
Yeah.
never been a lake person.
I went on one pontoon boat and I said, "This is for me."
After that, we have Mr. P's voice scratches the wrong side of my wife's brain Okay.
Love that for her.
I love that that one was like scratching the wrong side of her brain. And then the next one is, I can't sleep because my new cat keeps humping my leg and all I got was this too many tabs shout out. Hey, Huns.
Hey, hun.
And a big heart emoji.
I love that. I'm so happy that your cat is active and having a good time.
So this next one, I was asked for Mrs. P to actually read.
Oh,
so with all
okay.
the underscores.
Hold
So
on, let me
please,
move. I gotta shift.
can you see it?
Okay, yep. 2_2_2_Tom_Segura_fan.
Yep. Too poor to be a Tom Segura fan, Mrs. P. Do you understand that reference?
No.
Do you know who Tom Segura is?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, the allegedly a stand-up comedian.
You petty bitch.
Fuck him. Whatever. No, he's fine. Like he's fine. He does okay stand up.
Yeah.
But he's been bigger in the podcasting universe, especially
Yeah.
pulled into that whole Joe Rogan sphere.
Yeah, he got in the Joe Rogan.
But he really does not understand what it's like to ever have had a struggle in his life.
Yeah.
And it's often been coming through during his podcasts.
Okay.
When he'll be talking about oh, you use a washcloth like that. He gets like annoyed. He's like, that's a poor people thing. He also just gets like, whenever he's not flying a private plane, he gets into fights with like American Airlines publicly on Twitter because they made him like check his bag at the gate. You know, a thing that everyone ends up having to do because that's what happens when you fly commercial.
Wow.
But he doesn't understand what it's like to have struggle.
Yeah.
Because his dad was a vice president of Merrill Lynch.
Merrill Lynch?
Yeah, but don't worry, Tom Segura is just like every other girl. You know, started from the bottom, now we're here, like Drake. Anyway, but Tom has often talked shit on his own fans for not having a lot of money while they dump into his Patreon and support him financially.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, fuck that guy.
I feel like I probably talked about Tom Segura once.
You probably have mentioned him. Bert Kreischer is who you're thinking about. So
yeah.
he does
He's
he
the
does
guy
podcasts.
that drinks all the alcohol.
Yeah, he does podcasts with Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, the Bears. I see it on TikTok sometimes.
Yes, it's often being pushed on
Bears.
TikTok. Yeah.
And I see. You know what happens is once you watch one of them and you're like, it's never a laugh
You'll see like
out loud.
a funny clip. You're like,
It's
that's
not,
all right.
it's not like a laugh out loud. But
You
you're
push a
like,
little
huh.
extra air through your nose.
Huh.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I'm seeing everybody, and you get the wife,
Yep.
and then you get the other wife, and
Yep.
then you get the guy that looks kind of like a cartoon version of the devil, and then it'll take you down that whole stream. It'll pipeline you so quick.
Cartoon version of the devil.
Who's the one?
Andrew Schultz?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Is that not an accurate description of
No, I would have gone with Hitler from Wish. All right, so up next we have Alex_Wood_hate_haunting_Adeline.
Adeline.
Adeline?
Yeah, it's a TikTok smut book.
A
Very
TikTok
popular.
smut book?
Yeah, I always see TikToks about it. I have not read it.
Okay.
Apparently, there's something to do with a gun being used inappropriately.
A sexualized gun? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So #America, but I don't.
Is it a ghost fuck?
No, it's like one of those ones where like I think it's only based on the TikToks I've seen. It's like a guy who's very dominant and he's
I'm out.
abusive but consenting. So like it's
Nah, I'm
fine,
out.
but
Nah, those always take a weird turn.
I did.
It's always take a weird turn.
And then
where, like,
everybody's talking about this gun thing, and I'm like, I don't know what that is,
No,
and I don't want to
wanna
know.
No, I'm good. I always have a weird thing with that because typically those stories are being written by a dude, and so it's them like writing how she's okay with it the whole
Yeah.
time, and I'm like, I feel like if you ran this past one of your friends, they would tell
Wives,
you.
one of your friends' wives.
Yeah, we're also just like a normal person. They would tell you not to write this.
Maybe.
Sometimes, like I feel like
You
I
gotta-
don't know.
Aren't we all a reflection of the people we surround ourselves with?
And finally,
Okay.
our last Patreon, our new here is Anarcho Symphony.
Hey,
Thank you so much, all
how
of
would
y'all.
you describe an anarcho symphony?
How would I describe it? Well, first thing, they do not take direction from a conductor.
No, absolutely
Because
not. We're doing what we want.
Yeah, exactly. Because honestly, we're all just going to respect each other's bow
I
strokes.
feel like we are going to be bagging pots and pans.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be like a party in the street. There's going to be gutter punks there, a dog in a t-shirt.
Yeah. I
gonna be a
feel
good
like
time, honestly.
I feel like it would be out of tune in a way that somehow comes all the way around the other side, where it is now like the out of tuneness itself is in tune with its out of tuneness.
Yeah, chaos theory.
Yeah.
So much chaos that you're like, that makes sense.
There's actually a fun one out there. I think it was the LaRoucheites when they got really mad. You know Lyndon LaRouche?
No.
Maybe I'll write that down for a future episode. Anyway, they're lunatics. But there was a while ago when we agreed that notes were a certain frequency and we tweaked it.
Okay.
And they believed that ruined the universe.
Oh, so
like
okay.
like the A note was like a certain frequency.
Okay.
And they were like, I actually drop it like 2 and then they all line up a little bit better.
All right. Wow.
They think that went against the Lord, I think.
Is that one of the mountains?
It might be one of the
Oh
mountains.
my God.
But anyway, Mrs. P, this has been a fun episode.
Thanks. Well, thanks for having me.
I've had a fun time.
Me too. I had a good time.
What was your favorite part of today?
Well, number one, that you already knew about the crunking clown. That is so funny that you already knew.
Listen, I'm telling you, I watched it had to have been 60 Minutes or one of the Dateline. I just remember them doing like a thing on it.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, kids are super into, they're not only into crunking, they're into clowning. And I was like, no. And it felt very much the way. Did you ever used to watch Real Sex on HBO back in the day?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those of you too young, Real Sex was an HBO documentary series where they would be like, this is how sex is really happening. And it was always a lie. And it was always weird. But Real Sex had a very specific formula where the first thing that you saw was kind of sexy.
Yeah.
The first 5, 7, maybe 10 minutes is kind of sexy. Then they do a street interview where they'd ask a couple something weird.
Maybe in a cab. I feel like there was always in a cab,
It was like a
right?
cab. It was a cab or on the streets of New York. And they would ask people. And then one of them would be like, oh, yeah, I had a 3-way. And they'd, that's crazy. And then they would cut to the next one. And the next one was always the least sexy thing you've ever heard. But you knew that the third thing was always going to be kind of sexy.
Yeah.
So you had to sit through the second thing because you wanted to see the third thing.
Yeah.
And the second thing was always old people in mud.
Yep.
They're old nudist colony in mud.
Yeah.
Or clown sex. And so the clown sex episode of Real Sex would get played too often. So when I was watching, I saw that, and then they were like, now kids are doing clowning. I was like, it's everywhere. And that's, I feel what it's like to be in Christian Divine's brain. It's a real deep cut for no one.
Oh my God.
So thank you to everybody.
Well, I mean, we did talk about Drake and Kendrick the whole time.
The whole time.
So
this episode goes out to Christian Divine. Christian.
Yeah, shout out. Hey, hun.
Hey, hun.
Too many frauds and too many scammers that we wish weren't real. Too many cons and too many spammers, and we're starting to feel like we've got too many tabs open. It's too many tabs. Remember to smile.